What's up, guys? Navtastic here. Rodney, you know me. I'm gonna do a don't know how long this video is gonna be. It's gonna play around and talk and stuff like that. I've been sort of frag crazy, fragging a lot of things that I had or have, modding this and modding that to see what it looks like and how I like it, and that way people can see what I'm able to do. If they want mods, I can mod scales, I can make scales, I can mod blades and add holes and flipper deletes and all that stuff. So basically I'm just trying to sharpen my skills and my ability to do things. Like I modded this Boker F3.5. This was the tan micarta that I dyed in like a blackish purple, which is hard to tell in this light. But I ended up fragging it, and you can see it's, I don't know if you can tell, it's not very deep, but it's deep enough it is a texture. I pulled the pivot surrounds and drilled a bolt hole pattern, a bolt circle in those to give it a little bit of different look. I'm thinking about coloring these back again to the dark color solid, and that way it'll just be a texture that you can visibly see and feel, but it won't be as drastic as this. I'm not sure if I'm really liking this contrast a whole lot, but that's yet to be seen what I'm gonna do with that one. I fragged the carbon fiber on this knife. That came out really good. That one was done a while back. I just recently did, and I did not do the backside of this one, this titanium. I left it alone. The cold steel code 4, this is aluminum. I fragged both sides of that to add some grip and texture to a fairly thin and slick knife, and it come out really good. I was pleased with that. And that's the cold steel code 4. And then I also did the VDK impaler, and it come out pretty nice. I left the backside sterile and did just the front, and I'm thinking about doing a color and on this to make that pop a little bit more. So that being said, I'm thinking about doing a frag pattern or a diamond pattern on this Jan Xanadu YX. I think this is a 650. Yeah, YX 650. This is D2. I'm thinking about doing a diamond frag pattern. So basically it'll be square, but it'll be at an angle, so it'll look like diamonds, if that makes sense. Thinking about doing that to this one, not sure, but yeah, thinking about it. And then I got this land, this sort of like Sabenza style Chinese knockoff, which they're not claiming that this is Sabenza-like, but it's similar to a Sabenza with its shape and look. This is a San Ranmu knife. It's in 12C27. This is their model number 910. And because this is G10, I was thinking about giving this one a shot and seeing what it would look like in frag, because I haven't done any G10 yet. I've done micarta and carbon fiber, aluminum and titanium, but not G10 yet. So might be doing something with that. I don't know. Possibly. Yeah, and I've showed this the other day. This is the multi sort of dimensional wet form shaped leather slip that I got from Lancelot. It's been in and out of pocket, and you can see, it's getting some wear marks from being in and out of pocket and pulling it and working it, and it's getting a nice patina to it. I really like that. And this is the Twosun 200 something. It's the slip joint. Also going to be making some custom scales for this out of some crazy fiber or fat carbon. Haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but I think that would look pretty good in there. Going to do that. And the Twosun TS269 I'm thinking about doing, because the way this pops with the multifaceted, almost looks like chatter from the machine. If you're a machinist out there, you would know what I'm talking about when I say chatter. It's where your setup, your fixturing is not rigid, and the tool vibrates, shakes, moves, and it causes chatter. The blade's pretty dirty. I've been using this one. I do use this knife. I love it. It's a great design. Feels really good in the hand. Action is just great. Can't say enough good things about that. The Twosun TS269. I got a couple different knives in through a couple trades and some friends sending me some stuff. This is one that I got along with, I don't have it in front of me, I got the Kershaw Knockout and M390, the American Blade Works knife. But this here is the Vespa Ripper, and this is an OTF ND2. Pretty cool blade. It's aluminum housing and carbon fiber inlays with titanium clip and titanium action button, and it really fires hard. Pretty cool knife. Has a nice sweeping ramp to it. Almost looks like a U-boat. Pretty cool. Got that from a friend. Came with an extra spring and tool to work on it with. And then I got this from my good buddy Sean. Sean, thank you, buddy. I really like this thing. I have had it apart and cleaned it and got the action a little sweeter, but it is a great knife. This is an odd one. It's sort of on the small side. It's a UTX 85 in size wise, roughly. I think that's what I've read and understood. This is Horizon Blade Works, and you really can't see it on there. You can see a little bit of writing here. It's rubbed off. This is their Sentry, and this is an M390 Sentry Horizon Blade Works OTF in copper with titanium clip. It's got a little bit of my blood there because I was working on this and it stuck me. And titanium action button. Pretty cool. Nice action, and the copper is just really pretty cool. I like it. Now, with that being said, the main reason we're here is to say eventually goodbye to two knives, and that's the two Twosuns here, which I'm doing in a trade to a good friend of mine. I'm modding one. I've modded one. I'm modding the other one. The first one we have is the Twosun TS70, which I really want to get another one of these. I didn't want to get rid of this, but my buddy really wants it, and I want him to have it. So I'll take my chances of getting another one, and maybe I'll be lucky enough to get another one day, because once I mod this, I know I'm going to want it even more. But I am super tickled to be able to send it his way once I get done with it. But what I really like about this knife is the Quakeness, sort of the way the blade disappears, and it lends itself to a multifaceted anodization job that I'm going to do on it. Thinking I'm going to be bronzing, doing a multicolored anode, not sure the colors yet, and either bronzing or acid etching the hardware, possibly the blade. Might leave the blade alone as far as the finish, but doing some custom backspacer work, maybe tweak the pocket clip just a little bit. Going to be changing this. You can sort of see where I've prematurely marked the blade off. I'm going to be turning this to a reverse Tonto, maybe just a tad, maybe more that way or less that way. I'm not sure yet. I'm still thinking about it. This right now has a factory edge on it. Going to be possibly drilling that hole through, so it's a through hole instead of just the spot there. and thinking about doing either a full crown or a partial crown down the entire length of the blade. Something he mentioned in a text message today was have a gradual tapering crown, so it's a full crown, and as it goes back it blends into the square, and that might look pretty good too. So it's already got sort of a swedge going on with it, you can see it there. So not sure exactly what's going to be going on with that one, but there is no interior milling on this knife, so I might be doing also some interior milling to take a little bit of the weight away. But I'm really looking forward to anoing this and doing the tweaks and the mods and seeing how it comes out. And then maybe one day I'll be able to get me another one and do the same thing to it. Alright, that's that one. That's the Twosun TS70, which is a rare bird these days. And then this is one that I modded and carried. Not done a lot of extensive work with it or use with it. This is the TS190. This is the Cobra. Now I heat anode the hardware and I anodized the pocket clip and the frame. Left the blade alone. This is a good user knife, beautiful blade, just really excellent user. The action on it is a nice, almost hydraulic type shut. Centering is good, and the action, if you I've tuned it a little bit, but I'm thinking I need to still tune it some more, and that's what we're going to do. Is it flips good, but you got to follow through with it. If you try to fail this knife at the state it's in, it will fail. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this knife apart and we're going to tweak the detent, and we're going to show you how that's done. So the two tools that would be being used is the T8. And I think that's it. That's all we're going to do is the T8. Because that is all that's needed for this knife. So, and I like using my Weha flags to do this. I'm not even going to, well, I am going to take the pocket clip off. We're going to lay this right here. Clips over here, wiggle this clip out of here, and I'm going to have to push that out from this side. And it's being a little bit of a booger. Sometimes when you get these clips to where the fit in the body is so good, they're hard to get out. What you have to do is thread the screw back in there just a little bit, and then take your bit inside your tool and push, and it pushes it through. And then that it allows you to pull the clip out by pushing the bolt through, and then you're able to lift from it. And you can see there's already some anodization. There's some lightning going on in here, and when I did this, I did a quick ano on it. You can see sort of the color it was originally, the blue, and from it being handled, it's become a two-stage. So I'm going to pull that spacer out, and these little spacers here, and the racetrack washers, and lay all this to the side. bearings. I'm going to lay this back over here. I'm going to lay this to the side because I don't need it. I lay the blade right there. And when you adjust the detent on a knife, what you're doing is either increasing or decreasing the lay of the lock bar. Now you can basically see that on this knife, you know, it's got a little bit of pushover. It's not a lot. And where it bends at is this relief area here. That's where the frame lock takes its tweak and it bends in, and it allows the hardened insert to engage with the blade. And the pressure from this being drafted over is what creates tension on that detent. So when you open up the knife, there is resistance there, that for it to break that resistance, it allows the knife to go ahead and fully open. So a lot of times if this is set too weak or too hard, it's what we call tuning, or you've heard the term tuning, is you're tuning the detent. You're basically adjusting that, and a lot of times it comes from the factory, when some knives come from the factory with a perfect detent. And a lot of that has to do with not only this adjustment, but it's just the mechanics of the knife and how it's made, and the hole in the blade area where the detent ball rides, the detent ramp. You can see that this knife has a factory detent ramp on it right here. And all those things are a factor. So when you're adjusting the detent on a titanium frame lock, and this would work the same way for any frame lock, and even liner locks, you have to adjust the liners in a liner lock, or the frame in a frame lock. And this here, we have a frame lock, and you got to be careful that you don't go too far, you don't break anything. A lot of stainless steel has memory, so you got to go a little bit past its memory point to get it to where you want. With the frame lock, it's about the same. I mean, all metals have a memory, so to speak, unless it's a spring. You know, once the memory is set per se in a spring steel, you can't really, you can stretch it out. You can damage a spring, but you can't really adjust a spring because the coil set is set, or the spring tension, the spring, I'm not sure the word I'm looking for. It's non-adjustable. But this is not a spring. This is just a piece of steel, a piece of metal. So we can see that the amount that it's bent over is almost to where the backside of the scale, the frame, is flush with the interior. So all I'm going to do is push that past a little bit and get it a little bit tighter. And I've moved it just a little bit, but I'm going to move it a little bit more. And it's just basically a game to where you adjust it back and forth till you get it just right. Now, I've pushed it pretty hard. It's pretty significant. This might be a little bit too much, but it's a quick fix just to put back together and see what it feels like. Now, I have a polishing cloth somewhere, I thought, right here. Clean this blade a little bit before I put it back in here. And I'll end up taking this back apart and giving it a good cleaning and oiling. There's enough residual oil on here to do what I want to do. Because we're just basically testing the action of the knife. because it's easy to go too far, and that's a good thing about steels is you can bring it back. If you go too far, you can tweak it a little back the one way or the other, depending on what you have going on. And I'm just going to slide this back together and snug it up, because I won't get the setting like I want it unless I put this screw in the back side, and I have to put the clip in it for it to function like it's intended. So squeeze that together like that. Make sure my seams are all lined up. Whenever I'm tightening a pivot, I like to carry it tight and then back it off just a little bit. Now, I could probably go a little more. Let's see if we can fail it. Yeah. It's definitely a little better than it was. Yep, I'm going to have to go a little bit more. Not a problem. So again, we'll back this off. Hold on a minute. I don't have the centering quite right. Maybe I don't have this tight enough. And now I got it too tight. And that's the problem with detent also, is over bending it, you can cause the blade not to be centered in the action, to be off. It's sort of a conundrum to get it just right, because if you overdo it, you take a chance